Alright, so this is actually a day or two after I made and uploaded the video showing my old potassium nitrate there. And I just wanted, okay, anyways. I got a stir plate, and or a hot plate with magnetic stirring. And I also got this 1 liter beaker with a small stir bar. And I also got 1 liter Erlenmeyer flask and a large stir bar. And I got all of this for 180 bucks Canadian. I didn't want to spend that much offhand, but this is a somewhat reputable brand machine. Goes up to, what is it, 450 degrees or something like that, or is it 540? I think it's like 540. 7-inch ceramic top with magnetic stirring, of course. And it was just a really good deal. And I mean, for these on eBay, for what I can see, it's a couple $100 plus shipping used. They were a lot more beat up than this one. The guy was using this for preparing yeast for brewing, which might be good if I want to make my own ethanol as a solvent. But yeah, basically really good shape. 180 bucks. He was asking 200, but I also got the beaker and the Erlenmeyer flask, which would be like 20 bucks each, plus the stir bars. So I have all of that ready now. So I've been messing around on and off with it. Right now I'm just sort of timing to see how long it's going to take to get up to 80 degrees Celsius, because that's roughly the target temperature I want. I probably actually don't need nearly this much water. I weighed this whole thing at like 700 grams. I figured, oh, maybe 300 grams of potassium nitrate, but then I forgot, the jar is so heavy, and there's also that big fucking thing of desiccant in there. So I probably don't need nearly that much water. Unfortunately, I don't have a way of getting like a smaller beaker, so if I only need 100 milliliters of water, then this project is probably going to be put off for a bit. But yeah, just messing around with it and getting sort of a feel for how the hot plate works. And sort of, what sort of temp I need it actually set to get the water temperature up to a decent amount. So it looks like I'll actually need to go, yeah, so 540 is the max, but it looks like I'll have to maybe go to like, I don't know, 300 or something to try and get the water up to 80 degrees. It's one of those things where it's a little finicky, I guess I'm just used to boiling water on a fucking stove where you crank the shit and then it boils and then you dial it back. Not so much on this. It's a little more finicky. But hey, it's pretty good. It doesn't have any option for a probe or anything. It's literally just heat and stir, but it's still, I think a pretty good deal. So yeah, I guess I'm just sort of timing to see how long this thing takes to get up to 80-ish degrees. And then I guess I'll have to sort of clean that off and scrape it out and see how much it actually weighs, and that sort of fun stuff. I probably won't bother doing recrystalizing tonight because I'm super tired, but it will be part of this video, so cut to that, I guess. Alright, so it's maybe, it's under 10 minutes. I did tweak the temperature a bit. It looks like I probably will want to go just straight to 300 degrees. But yeah, with it set to 300 degrees, and with stirring set to 8 or so, I guess. I don't know the speed offhand for that. I think I want to print out a label maybe and do that sort of stuff. Looks like it's holding close-ish to, 80 degrees or so. I knocked it down 10 degrees and then it started dropping off quite rapidly. So, but yeah, that looks like it'll probably be pretty... Oop, wrong way. It looks like it's going to be pretty sweet for mixing up the potassium nitrate. Completely fucking overkill, but hopefully I'll get more use out of this. Just this. Fuck, I hope so. Yeah, it's kind of nice to take a break from the electronics stuff, I guess. I got kind of burnt out on those David Clark headphones, just because I spent a lot of money on the parts and designing the board and time and stuff like that, and it didn't quite work out. But you know, a new board design and some new amplifier chips should hopefully work. The problem is those new chips are way smaller. They're not like standard. They're not the standard, you know, MSOP packages or something. They're one size down, which is going to be an even bigger bitch to try and do. But you know, yeah. At this point, honestly, the temperature isn't super critical. It would be nice if this was one of those ones that had like a temperature probe that would adjust the temperature, whatever, blah blah blah, all fancy and shit. Yeah, see, now it's going even higher. Whatever, it's one of those things. I guess that's not super accurate if you don't have one with a probe that tries to keep the solution temperature set to a certain amount. But yeah, anyways, this should be pretty good. The hot plate was also pretty dirty with some burn marks and shit on there. It looked kind of nasty, but just some baking soda and water solution, just in a sludge. Cleaned it up real nice. So yeah, I guess I don't have any coffee filters, so I'm just going to let this thing cool off. You know. And next part of the video will be me with some sleep. And hopefully a coffee filter. And recrystalizing that shit. Which, yeah, probably won't be as much as I wanted, but oh well. And that, this temperature sensor device thing. This is just the one that I built that does data logging to on SD card. If it will focus. Sort of. Yeah, there's an SD card on the side there. You can turn on data logging, which turns off the screen and then flashes that red light at the top every time it writes a data point. No time or anything on there. Pretty basic, but you know, it's works pretty good until I get a glass thermometer and stuff. And it's good for, well, you know, data logging. So anyways, yeah, that's the end of this part. Alright, so lighting's going to be kind of crap for this, but I needed a bit more room. So anyways, I've gone ahead and emptied out almost all of the potassium nitrate. Removed the desiccant bags and threw them out after getting as much of the potassium nitrate as I could off of it. And so I have about 225 grams of the potassium nitrate here. So, actually, you know, if I just go a little bit over 200 milliliters at 60 degrees, that should be enough to saturate the solution. Then I have just a random jar and a coffee filter set up. So yeah, I'm going to break up the chunks and start heating up the water, and then go ahead and start dissolving everything in. Alright, so a couple things. I did take out about 20 grams just to keep the original stuff. And I ended up washing the original container with just some hot water to get out the little bits that were left. So I am a little under 300 degrees there, but I'm going to, or 300 milliliters, but I'm going to take it up to, you know, like 80 degrees. I changed my mind, I'm going to take it up to that, let some of the water steam off of there, and then once the level is lower, start adding the potassium nitrate. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do like a really nice close-up, but I can probably zoom in from this angle later. Alright, so it's been a bit, and the water's at 90 degrees or so. I'm turning the heat down a bit now. I'm a little over 250 milliliters. Honestly, I think the only benefit to just sort of making sure that this is actually saturated is to have it recrystallize at a lower temperature, but I'm using a freezer, so I don't think that's going to make much difference. So yeah, I'll just get started. Let's go ahead and add a small bit first. And so yeah, you can see on the side there the little bits hanging from hairs and stuff. that to stop. Probably to start. And by start I mean just put the rest of it. So it's a bit closer. You can see sort of a chunk of white stuff, but I'm guessing that's maybe all of the hair and shit. Nope, so there I just managed to fish out a bunch of that hair crap from the desiccant pack. Alright, looks like we're at about 80 degrees. I mean, probably a little above, but... Alright. Okay, so there's still some hair in there. We do already have some potassium nitrate crystals forming on the outside of the glass, though. I'm gonna just use some hot water. Well, not the glass, the beaker. Also, apparently, that fucking coffee filter doesn't work very well because there's still chunks of hair and stuff. Alright, so that's added a bunch more water into this, but whatever. So, yeah, you can see that there's still crap floating around in there. So apparently that's a really fucking shitty coffee filter. Holy shit, man. Okay, well, whatever. I'll have to do this again at some point. But for now... I will remove said piece of shit coffee filter. Man, people filter their stuff they drink through this, and it lets that much stuff through. So now this is going to go into the freezer. I don't know if there's a little bit starting or not, if it's still too warm, but yeah, that's let a whole bunch of stuff through. Alright, so it's been a little bit, well, a while actually, maybe an hour or so, maybe a little more. And the jar is still a little warm to the touch down here, and you can see those bits of crap floating around in there. But there is some really nice crystallization going on. The nice sort of thin, spiky crystallization that is characteristic of potassium nitrate. I am a little tempted, well no, I'm a little tempted to go ahead and just chop this up and melt it down again and try and get a better coffee filter, but I think I'll use distilled water for the second crystallization. In the meantime, I'll let this finish up, probably in a few hours, see where it's at. Alright, so what I've done this time, I'm going to, actually I'll have to stop, I'm going to use this with the white coffee filters, and I'm going to filter into that and crystallize in this, since it'll be easier to get the product out of, and I can use this to dry it easier. And I've actually got the potassium nitrate inside of this 1 liter Erlenmeyer flask. Some smaller glassware would be good, but I don't have anything smaller than these, except for some round bottom flasks that I don't have a holder for. So I'm just going to try and use as little as I can get away with. That's not sitting completely level for some reason. So we have the stir bar there. I've washed and dried all of these using distilled water and isopropyl alcohol. So I'm going to go ahead and put the filter on this now that it's dried up. And then we'll get started by adding the water. Okay, so I think we're pretty much ready to start. I'm going to, so I have this taped on there, far less than ideal. So I'm going to start by trying to get whatever I can left out of this using some distilled water. And the actual funnels. So let's go for a little bit more distilled water to rinse out the last little bit of crystals that I can see. So it might be hard for this to pick up the stuff at the sides. Oh, you know what? Actually, that's doing a pretty nice job with how big that stir bar is. Okay. I think I'm going to have to pick up the camera to get closer. So let's just bear with me. Alright. So yeah, we've got that in there. Set to 200 degrees, and I can turn on stirring. And it's actually able to pick up the stuff at the sides pretty nicely. That's a little violent, but yeah. It is getting a little bogged down from the crystal still, and that's not sitting 100% level. But yeah, I guess now we will just go ahead and wait for this to get up to temperature. Alright, so I just heard the stirring pick up pace. Clearly it got a little easier, so let's go ahead and check on the temperature. Oh, only 40 degrees. I wonder if that's everything in there. Done. It's a little cloudy, but that could still be just other contaminants. Let me try and zoom in here. Oop. So yeah, you can see it is quite cloudy still. But I think maybe I'll keep it going, and I will just I'll maybe just get to, 55, 60 degrees instead, since it looks like that's everything dissolved and probably enough time to filter through. And I decided to, wrong way, I decided to just slap a third coffee filter on there just in case, because I was really annoyed with how it turned out last time. So I'll probably give it another 5 minutes and then it might be all set. Alright, so been 5 to 8 more minutes. Oop, 80 degrees. Alright. I'll just grab this and pour it off into here. Hopefully not lose too much. So it is coming through there at a pretty decent rate. more slowly now, so I'm just going to set that back on there to keep it warm. So hopefully not too much gets lost in these coffee filters. I'm sure I could find some way of, saving that, but it's going to be such a small amount, I'm sure that it's not going to be worth the effort. There's a little bit of crystallization. Oh, I'm not going to... Oh, just the angle. You can see a little bit of potassium nitrate on the end there. That does seem to be slowing down, so it does seem like the filters are probably catching some stuff. Oh, this one's kind of dripping. Oh, actually there's a fair bit dripping around. Shit. It's going to try and do the rest here. Alright, I'm going to set that down there. So that third coffee filter probably wasn't a great choice. I'm going to try and just tuck it up here. Yeah, the hardware store closed before I got there. And I don't have any funnels. Like, at all for some reason. But if I did, they wouldn't be big enough to be in this thing. You can see, though, already on the outside here, I think. Yeah, some potassium nitrate from where it's been dripping down. Just gonna sort of squeeze this weird tea bag. Yeah, it's coming through. Oh, fuck. Coming through fairly slow there. Still quite warm, but squeeze that through. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, so the stir bar has quite a bit of crap on it. But here is the coffee filter. So, I'm not sure exactly what all of that is, but I bet some of that brown stuff is from those other coffee filters. Those weird, these weird ones that are, I guess, much more porous. So there we have our nice clean solution of potassium nitrate and water with some stuff on the outside. So I'm going to put this in the freezer. And in a few hours, that should be all set to take out, chop up, and dry on the hot plate. So it's been about 20 minutes, and I just wanted to show the amount of crystals forming so far. However, shaking it actually caused quite a few crystals to drop out of the solution. But, yeah, so another... Well, I'm not quite sure how long, but, another hour or maybe 2, and that'll definitely be everything out of there. As well as you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of potassium nitrate on the actual surface from where it was dripping in. Alright, so it's been 80 minutes since the last section you saw there. And interestingly, the crystals this time, maybe it's from moving it around, there's a lot more just sort of fluffiness to them. I really don't know if I'm going to be able to show it, but it's not really... Yeah, I don't think so. it's not so much the big crystals of potassium nitrate, but it's a lot fluffier, which is interesting. So the water hasn't quite started to freeze yet, although I think it would be pretty close now. But yeah, basically I'll leave it for another 20 minutes or something like that, pour this off into something and keep it just in case there's still some potassium nitrate in there. Because if it's not freezing, then it could still, have a bunch in there possibly. Which seems unlikely though. And I won't bother breaking this up or drying it. I'll probably just cut to when it is actually dry, because that's probably going to take quite a while. Alright, so this time, yeah, very nice and white and clean looking. So I had them dry overnight one day on a piece of printer paper and some paper towel, and then for a few hours at 50 on there. And so supposedly only 40 grams there. So I guess when I started out that stuff was super wet, because this is a similar volume just from the look of it. So yeah, looks like there was a fuckload of water in there. So I was hoping for, a bigger amount, but when I originally made this stuff, I had filled a coffee filter pretty much to the brim with a mixture of this and sugar. So yeah, either way, this wasn't about making a bunch of potassium nitrate, it was about cleaning up the old stuff that I had. Yeah, definitely no dampness or anything there, so it's not a super precise scale, but whatever, we'll just see, close to 40 grams. So anyways, yeah, that's the end of this. Whatever.